You're watching Oklahoma's News 4 at 6.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Sarah Stewart. We begin tonight at 6 with the house going up in flames after a car allegedly explodes inside the garage. This was the scene this afternoon near Danforth and Western. One neighbor took this video as black smoke poured out of the home. News 4's Ian Smith joins us now live from the scene. And Ian, you spoke to a neighbor out there.
Sarah, that's right. I sure did. And her husband and her live just across the street. And he's the one who took the video of the fire at this home behind me. And she says this isn't the first time this has happened in her neighborhood.
Gosh, like they live across the street. It's really scary.
Mom Andrea Hurst had no idea what was unfolding on her block.
We were up the street at a birthday party and heard a bunch of fire trucks. And I told my son, hey, do you hear the fire trucks? And he got really excited.
And then her husband sent her a text. Her neighbor's house was on fire.
Black smoke just started pouring out of the garage, and he said the firefighters kind of panicked for a second.
Her husband took this video showing heavy black smoke coming from the garage. Apparently it started with a check engine light.
They took their car in this morning to get serviced. It had a check engine light on. So, they got it serviced, routine, came back home. Apparently he parked in the garage, went inside, and the car exploded.
The family that lives in the home didn't want to do an interview, but did say their car had been serviced. Hurst says this is the second time this has happened in her neighborhood. A few streets over, this boarded-up house allegedly had the same issue, and it's not unheard of. This fire crew confirms the fire started with a car, and they've seen it before.
Within the past 6 months, for example, probably maybe 3.
But what could cause a car to go up in smoke in what seems like a freak accident?
It could be multiple things. It could be from wiring, or it could be from the fluids leaking on the engine.
Now, every time Hurst gets in her car, she thinks twice.
What the heck happened? What did they get serviced? What kind of car do they have? Do I need to be worried? Like, what is happening?
Now, neighbors tell me the family that lived here did have small children, and everyone, fortunately, is okay. For now, we're live in Edmond. Ian Smith, Oklahoma's News 4.
Now, first weather from the Forewarned Storm Team.
Well, kind of a wild weather afternoon. We've been keeping you forewarned here on air and online. Some thunderstorms moving through, some of them severe at times, a couple downbursts as well. And some of this video here from Mark Dillard. He was out chasing the storms for us today. They started near Arcadia in northeast Edmond. You can actually see a little bit of what's called a rain foot there, where the rain goes down and kind of bends out. That's those outward pushing winds, and also torrential rainfall. We had flooding on 89th Street that basically crossed the entire road. You can see some of that here, folks driving through it, and all that rain came down in such a short amount of time. So flooding definitely a concern still for some folks as we go into tonight. Let's take it back here to Max and look at this time-lapse view of one of those downbursts. This happened near OCCC and near Will Rogers. You can actually see the rain coming down in sheets and curtains, a little rain foot action there. Winds were about 50-55 miles per hour with some of these high wind gusts. And now we're seeing the sun coming back in. It's definitely muggy out there. It's humid. And we still have some rain in parts of the state. Here we are taking a look at the storm scanner. So thunderstorms mostly leaving the metro, a couple of them near Shawnee and the eastern parts of Oklahoma City metro. But again, we really have quieted down across much of the area. Not much to show you here immediately, but this is all where it began just a little bit earlier on. Still some activity in Chickasha. You can see some lightning bolts there, and it's all happening now in southwestern Oklahoma. Look at Altus, just covered by showers and thunderstorms. Sarah, this is just one of many, many days where we have so much rain on the way. This is looking good for Oklahoma, but there is a severe weather threat. We'll talk about that coming up.
Okay, Aaron, thank you. Police are investigating after a man was shot this afternoon over a social media post. Officers responded to the Seminole Ridge Apartments near Southwest 74th and May around noon. When they arrived, they found one man with a gunshot wound on his left leg and a woman with a cut on her forehead. They were both taken to the hospital to be treated for non-life-threatening injuries. Police say it all started when there was a verbal argument between groups from 2 different apartments.
The gunshot victim had went over there with his phone, and he was filming it and placing it on Facebook. The other parties involved wanted him to mind his own business. Things escalated, and an unknown shooter shot him one time in the leg.
At this time, no one is in custody. Police are still investigating. And a long overnight standoff ends peacefully after the suspect claimed to have a bomb. Police waited it out with the suspect who barricaded himself in a home at Northwest 13th and Youngs. Police say that unidentified suspect had a knife and claimed to also have a bomb. The bomb squad came to the scene, but soon learned there was not actually a bomb. We're told the suspect had a history of domestic violence charges, but it's unclear at the time why he was holding the police at bay all night. He was finally taken into custody around 4:30 this morning, more than 7 hours after the standoff began. And officials say a volunteer firefighter has died in the line of duty. This takes us to Jackson County, where Friendship fire crews responded to a house fire near Altus on Friday. The fire broke out just after 5:30 and crews arrived to find the home engulfed in flames. Officials say the fire department's assistant chief, Madison Clinton Jr., had been battling the house fire when the porch collapsed, trapping him underneath. He was 54 years old. A man has been sentenced to life without parole for the murder of an Oklahoma woman. A jury found 28-year-old Charles Cooper guilty of the murder of 55-year-old Cindy Allen. In 2016, Allen was found dead inside her home in Bing, a small town in Pontotoc County near Ada. Investigators said Cooper had killed Allen and then set her house on fire before fleeing the state. Cooper was found guilty of first-degree murder and sentenced to life without parole. He was also sentenced to 105 years for burglary, 2 counts of arson, and 1 count of rape by instrumentation. A manslaughter charge against an Oklahoma sheriff has been dismissed. Garfield County Sheriff Jerry Niles Jr. confirmed to us Friday evening a first-degree manslaughter charge against him has now been dismissed. Back in February, Niles was charged with first-degree manslaughter for the 2016 death of Anthony Huff. Officials say Huff was arrested in June of 2016 for public intoxication and was held at the Garfield County Jail. Investigators tell us Hug was placed in a restraint chair on June 6th and was found unresponsive in that chair on June 8th. Later that day, he was pronounced dead. Niles still faces nepotism charges after he allegedly appointed his son and daughter-in-law to new positions at the Garfield County Sheriff's Office and increased the salary, wages, pay, or compensation for them. Enid police need your help finding a man accused of using fraudulent checks. Police say on August 9th they responded to Atwood's in reference to a fraud. Officials tell us a man entered the store and purchased several items using the fraudulent checks. He then left the store in the truck pictured here, described as a burnt orange and gray Chevrolet Z71 Silverado. If you have any information, give Enid Crime Stoppers a call at the number right there on your screen. Still ahead from the Sky Center, unanswered questions surrounding an airline employee taking off with a commercial airplane before crashing it. Investigators are trying to figure out how the man was able to fly the plane and even perform difficult and dangerous maneuvers before dying in the crash. The latest next.
You're watching Oklahoma's News 4 Saturday edition with Sarah Stewart, Aaron Brackett, and Dylan Buckingham. Oklahoma's News 4, looking out for you.